So we're going to start by warming up. Um, so everybody, let's stand on up if we're not already. And we're just going to start turning the toes out. So if you have a mat, if you have like a workout mat, a Pilates mat or a yoga mat, let's have our toes turned out towards like the cornice of the mat. And we're going to bend the knees, we're going to press out with the inner thighs and then reach the arms up. So bending out the inner thighs, reaching the arms up as we come down to this wide squat, or in bar, we call a plie. So let's take a couple more here. Thinking about moving the shoulders and the shoulder blades as we reach the arms up. It's not just restricted to the head of the shoulder here. Let's take a couple more. Great work. And then let's rise up to stand, relax the arms down. Now we're going to pivot our toes around so that we've got toes and heels all lined straight up. We're going to do some side lunges. And as you guys know, or some of you who have moved with me before might know, I favor a little bit of a slower pace and good form over speed and sacrificing form and alignment. So if you're going back and forth to your side lunges, if it feels better on your knees or your low back to maybe sit the hips back and down and pause a little bit more, allow yourself to kind of slow it down. Don't feel like you have to keep going at the same pace. Let's take a couple more. Okay. And then let's gently come back through center. Now we're going to step the feet together and we're just going to take a couple forward folds. So let's just take a nice big inhale. Let's reach the arms up. Let's maybe interlace the fingers, flip the palms, take a little bend towards the left. And then let's come back up through center. Let's take a little bend towards the right. Let's come back up through center. Let's interlace the hands at the back of the head and take a forward fold all the way down. So that we're in a forward fold. You can relax the arms down and just release into the back of the legs. Just allow the hamstrings to open up at their own pace. And then from here, let's gently rise all the way on up. Let's take a quick tricep stretch. So bring that right hand down to the right shoulder blade, grabbing hold of that elbow, taking a little bend towards the left. And then let's come back up through center, switch sides, left hand comes down, grab that left elbow, take a little bend. And we'll come back through center. Let's relax the arms back and down. Okay, my dears, here we go. Plank time. Let's get it out of the way. So let's come on down to the floor. If you like to pad the knees, if you're dropping your knees down, feel free to do that, whether that's like doubling up your mat if you have one, or even grabbing a towel or something of that nature. We're going to start in a low plank. So gently rocking the hips forward, coming to the knees. And remember, we're imagining like we're putting on a tight pair of jeans in the belly. And that's what's going to keep your core engaged. So pausing and holding here for a moment, just reaching forward, keeping that belly nice and strong. We're just starting to build a little bit of activity in the shoulders and in the core. So let's take a couple more moments here. And then we're going to gently tuck the toes and straighten the legs for a full plank. So again, chest reaching forward, heels pressing back. If you prefer to drop down to the knees, allow yourself to drop down to the knees. Now, those of you who are in full plank, knees lifted, we're going to press back to a downward dog. Those of you who might be in plank from the knees, you can shift back to a child's pose. So we're just allowing the shoulders a rest. And then when you're ready, we're all going to rock forward to our plank, whether that's knees or full plank, and then shift back. So do that 3 more times. I'm going to get our timer set up, moving to your plank, whether that's from the knees or full plank, and then pressing back to child's pose or downward dog. And then the next time that you get to child's pose or downward dog, we're going to pause and hold. And I'm timing us now because remember, we're working on our time planks here. So, your preference, full plank, plank from the knees. It's core focused, but it is full body, so allow yourself to modify as needed. If you're a little more low energy this week, maybe take plank from the knees and then maybe take full plank next week. All right. So we're going to hold here. We've got just about 10 seconds or so. I know it seems so long, but I promise you it's going just as fast as any other time. Here's our last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great work. Everyone drop down. That was 45 seconds. So next week we're going to go up to a minute. So great work, everyone. Um, from the knees, let's get set up in a side plank here. So we're going to either have the option of coming onto the forearm, onto the right forearm, and to the right hip. If this doesn't feel so great on the shoulder, you could come all the way up, the full extension of the right arm, completely up to you, modify as needed. And then we can either have that right knee bent, left leg stretched out, and then we're just lifting up the right hip and we're holding here. You could also have the right leg stretched out and the left leg crossed over, and then we're holding here. So wherever we are, we're just holding this side plank. Remember, we're putting on that tight pair of jeans, and your right oblique, your right hip, that's what's lifting you up. We don't want the shoulder to do too much work. It is going to work. The right arm is going to work, but we don't want it to be doing all the work. We want to keep that core engagement, that outer hip engagement. Great work. And let's come on down and switch sides. See, I'm talking the whole time to distract you from from the burn. Okay, so next side, left forearm, left knee could be bent and left leg could stay on the floor. This is a great way, you guys, to really build the strength here in the side body and not get too overwhelmed, with the rest of it. If you're in full side plank, here we are. And again, we're just going to hold. So belly kind of zipping up, outer hip obliques lifting, strong, doing the work. Shoulders not the only thing working though. Yep, keeping that lift there. A couple more moments, and then let's gently come back and down. Okay, so standing or sitting, let's just, roll the shoulders a couple times, just to release any tension there. And then let's go ahead and move on. So from here, we're going to work on some chest and triceps. And anybody that has a yoga background, this is going to be chaturanga that we're going to be working on, or chaturanga from the knees, because it's more of a push-up version. And it's a strong pose. It really focuses on, like I said, triceps and chest. So you can do this from a full plank. We're going to start from the knees, and then I'll give the option to bring it up to a full plank if you would like. But a couple things, we're going to come back to that low plank, right? So we still want that engagement with the core because that supports your low back. And then keeping your elbows close to your sides, you're going to bend down a couple of inches and press up, and then drop the hips back to a child's pose. Let yourself have that break because we're going to do several rounds. So we're bending the elbows, lowering down a couple of inches, pressing up, and moving back to child's pose. I'm just going to turn to face the camera so you have a visual from the front as you guys work for a little bit more of a cue. Elbows are close to the sides, close, 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 and then press up. So I'm really keeping those elbows close to my ribs. So, and then pressing back to child's pose. So let's do two more here. Rocking forward, lowering down a couple of inches and press up. Like I said, a lot of chest, a lot of triceps. It's a great way to build strength there. And then the next time that you press back to that child's pose, from here, we'll gently come to stand all the way on up. So if you want to take a down dog to get there, you can gently do so and then take maybe a forward fold, maybe grab opposite elbows, and then we'll rise all the way on up with the arms. Okay, so if you have weights and you want to start taking some bicep curls, go ahead, take a couple rounds of full bicep curls. I'll cue you into stop. If you don't have weights or you have light weights, we're going to keep a little bend in the elbows and we're going to open the arms nice and wide and then bring the elbows together. So arms opening wide, bringing the elbows together. And the key here is to not drop the arms and the elbows. So gravity is going to be our tool. That's going to try to pull on the arms and we're going to resist. Yeah, let's take a couple more here. Those of you who are doing heavier weights with bicep curls, maybe relax and take a break. Those of you with no weights or little weights, let's gently keep the arms open and take a tiny pulse. See how small that movement is? You know, with the arms, like really keep it small. So it's not kind of like this, it's like a tiny, tiny little pulse. It's almost like we start to move our arms and then we change our mind, continuously. So taking a couple more here. All right, and those of you with light weights or no weights, we're going to bend our elbows. And then from here, we're going to bring the forearms, the palms down towards the floor and open. So we're moving right into the next exercise to start to, really work the arms. And those of you with heavy weights, you can grab your weights, take an overhead press, bend the elbows, and take a wide overhead press up and down, keeping those elbows shoulder height. Those of you again without weights or light weights, we're just bringing the palms down. Imagine if you're kind of like pushing something down and then opening back up. Yep, pushing something down and opening back up. Let's do two more. All right, and then let's all gently relax the arms down. So waist can go off to the side. Let's roll the shoulders. It's going to do a quick time check. Okay, we're going to move into some legs, into some lower body. So let's start with that right foot forward. We're going to do some lunges. And we're going to step back with the left foot. So feel free to use some support, whether that's a wall or a chair if needed. We're going to step back into a lunge with that left foot and then step it forward. So it's going to be a continuous sort of back and forth. You set the tempo. And I don't mean that in any kind of judgmental way. I mean, what is going to allow you to have good form, challenge yourself, but not overwhelm the body. We want to find that kind of sweet spot. If you would like to hold a weight or two at the chest, of course you could. We're looking to again keep the body weight back towards the heels as we step forward and back. So we want the back of the leg to be working and helping the quad, not the knee. When we're too far forward, that brings unnecessary pressure into the knee. So we can stay right here, stepping forward and back. If you would like to add a knee tap, we can step and tap that left knee down and forward. And you can decide how far down that is, bringing the knee to the floor or maybe just hovering. Let's do two more. And then the next time we step back with that left foot, let's take a little pulse. So we're just going to hold here and pulse. So again, body weight's back towards our heels, staying here in our pulse for another 3 and 2 and 1. Okay, let's step that left foot forward and let's switch sides. So left leg will be our what we call stability leg, stabilizing leg. So that's one that's just going to hold you. And we'll get right into it. Right foot stepping back and forward. You can set up that tempo a little faster. Will give you an elevated heart rate. We'll kind of, yeah, bring that quality into it. But again, I always like to favor alignment and form, above speed. If we can maintain the alignment and form, great. But that's really what's going to build healthy strength is good form. And again, you can have your weights, holding on to those if you would like. We'll take a couple more. And then we're going to take that little pulse. So stepping back and then taking a little pulse here. Yeah, so body weight back towards your heels. Yep, nice strong hamstrings and quads. We'll take a couple more here. And then we'll gently step all the way forward. Okay. All right. Nice work. So taking a little time check to see where we are. Okay. So we're going to come on down to the mat. We're going to move into, going to do a little bit more glutes, and then we're going to move into core. So let's come on to the knees for what I call a tabletop. So I teach these in my mat and Pilates classes. We're going to step back with that right leg. Right toes will gently be pointed, and we're going to take some nice big toe taps. So yes, we're looking to bring that right leg back behind us. We want to lift it high. But we don't want to work the low back. We want to work the glute and the hamstring. So where is that, again, sweet spot where you're feeling a little bit of engagement in the glute, in that right glute, like you're feeling a little squeeze, but you're not getting into the low back. And if you do feel in the low back, just bring that right leg down a couple more inches. We'll take 2 more here. And then let's start to pulse that right leg next time it's lifted. So a tiny, tiny little pulse. Let's keep the core gently engaged. And we're staying here in our pulse for another 3 and 2 and 1. Now we're going to finish off with what I like to call rainbows. So the right toes are going to go over to the left side of the room and then over towards the right. So we're creating a nice big arc. We're looking to keep the core engaged and really try to isolate the movement in that right glute and in that right thigh. Let's take a couple more. And then let's bring that right knee back down and let's switch sides. Okay, so left foot's going to step straight back. Toes gently pointed, and then we're lifting and lowering. So again, the first couple reps, be kind to yourself. The first couple reps are just kind of figuring out where we are, what's the appropriate height for the leg. Where is there that little squeeze in the back of the thigh and in the glute? Can we keep the core engaged? And we're just lifting and lowering here. All right, let's take a couple more. And then the next time the left leg is lifted, we take a little pulse. So again, the pulse is intentional. We're just not kind of like flailing the leg. It's like a tiny controlled little pulse. And after your like fifth or so pulse, you should start to feel a little something in that gluten, in that hamstring. So let's stay here for another 3 and 2 and 1. Okay, let's bring that left knee down and let's lie back down on to the spine for some core. Okay, so what do we need for core? Not really anything, because this is all going to be body weight challenged exercise. So lie down on the mat and let's gently think about pressing the low back into the floor. So that low back gently, again, pressing into the floor, is stabilizing there. And we're putting on that tight pair of jeans. Again, remember. And then let's reach the legs up towards the ceiling so legs are long. So from here, let's take an inhale. We're going to reach the arms back behind us. And as you exhale, that right leg lowers, and we're going to reach the arms forward, lift the chest. Great work. And then let's come all the way back and down. So let's take an inhale and an exhale to lower and lift the chest and come back through center. So we're just going to kind of get in the rhythm of this. If it doesn't feel good on your head and neck, you can always interlace the hands at the back of the head and use that little extra support. All right, and then the next time we lower that right leg, let's pause. We're going to keep the head and chest lifted, maybe bring the hands back behind the head. Take a little pulse here with that right leg. Yeah, just up and down a couple of inches. Staying here in the pulse for another 3 and 2 and 1. Let's bring the right leg back on and up. Let's relax the head and the chest down, and let's switch sides. So reaching the arms back behind. Inhale on the floor, use the exhale to harness the power of the core, lower the left leg down, and then we can come back up through center. So really allow you guys your head and chest to come back down onto the floor. Like let yourself relax for that moment so that we can harness as much energy as we can from the body each time we lift and lower. Let's take 2 more. And then we're going to hold that next time the left leg lowers. So we're going to hold here, hands back behind the head, taking a pulse. Left toes are pointed. Staying here in our pulse for another 3 and 2 and 1. Okay, left leg can come on up. Feet can gently come back down. Let's maybe rock the hips from side to side. Take a moment to relax the core. And then we're going to stretch the legs all the way on out. Take an inhale, reach the arms back behind. And an exhale, we're going to roll all the way on up. So really harnessing the strength of the core to rise all the way on up. Maybe taking a little forward fold towards the legs. And then we'll gently come back up through center. So keeping a nice long spine, lifted chest, nice strong core is going to roll us all the way back and down onto the mat, maybe reaching the arms back behind us. And we'll finish off with some obliques. So let's interlace the hands back behind the head. We have a couple of options. Option 1 is to bend the knees, plant the feet on the floor, and just take a traditional oblique twist. You're just twisting with that right oblique towards the left leg, and you're bringing the head and chest back and down onto the mat. If you would like to add on, we can again incorporate the legs. So we can reach the legs up towards the ceiling. That right leg's going to lower just how it did before. We'll bend the left knee so the legs hover, and then we twist. So we're just holding the legs and we're all taking an oblique twist. Using that oblique to bring us towards the knee and to gently come back down. Okay, let's take two more. And then let's gently come back through center, relax the head into the chest down. Let's reach the legs up towards the ceiling. And then let's switch sides. So let's lower that left leg if we're doing so, bending the right knee, and that left oblique is taking a twist. We're coming all the way back down onto the mat. All right, so let's take a couple more. And then let's bring the head and the chest down, reach the legs up, and everybody take a second to relax and down onto the floor. So for our last little burst here, again, if the knees bent and the feet on the floor is how your low back feels most supported, take that option. Um, One is not better than the other. It's all a core focus exercise. That's the muscle group we really want to focus on. So we don't want to compromise another area of the body while trying to work out the core. You know, it's all about having a balance. So feel free to keep your feet right on the floor, knees bent. We're just going to do a continuous oblique twist back and forth to end. If you would prefer reaching the legs up, the legs are going to be straight up towards the ceiling. We'll interlace the hands to the back of the head and we'll put our last two moves together. Right leg lower straight down, take a twist towards the left knee. Come all the way back and down and switch sides. So left leg lowers, take a twist, come back through center. So the leg that's lowering down, that's the same side of oblique that you're twisting with. So let's take a couple more. Gently lowering down and twisting. Yep, taking your time. Everyone, regardless of what the legs are doing. Let's take two more. And final time with that right oblique. Final time with that left oblique. And then let's relax down onto the mat. Everybody stretch on out if that's comfortable. Take a nice big inhale, breathe into the belly. And an exhale to release through the mouth. And let's take one more nice big inhale into the belly. And an exhale through the mouth. Let's take a figure four twist, cross that right ankle over the left knee, and then just drop the legs over towards the left side of the mat. And again, one more nice big inhale into the belly. Release those core muscles and an exhale through the mouth. And then let's come back through center. Let's bring that left ankle over the right knee. Nice big twist here over towards the right. Nice big inhale. And an exhale. And then we can gently bring the legs back through center. Okay, and then eventually let's gently roll to one side. And we're going to make ourselves come on up to a standing position. And from here, we're just going to reach the arms up towards the ceiling, interlace the fingers, flip the palms, take a little bend towards the left, open up that right oblique. And then we can come back up through center, take a little bend towards the right, open up that left oblique. Come back through center, take a nice big circle with the arms. We'll relax back and down to a forward fold. Relaxing the head and chest down, and then we'll gently inhale to rise all the way on up. And an exhale, relax the arms back and down. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Thank you so much. See you guys next week. Great work, 45 Second plank will be up to a minute next week in no time. So everyone have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week and see you next time. You're welcome. Have a great day, everyone. So strong. Great way to start the day. Thank you. Bye now.